Hey again everyone, Brendan here, aka Cliff Jumper. We are back on the Sequoia, where we had left off previously.
Previously on Battlestar Galactica.
We have to still deal with that problem child up there, the old winch. I've had a few people asking about some projects that we have left on hold for a very long time while we have been focusing on the Corrado project, the Sequoia project, many other projects. So we're going to be circling back to some of these things that we left undone and give you the answers that you're looking for. Sorry about that. Sorry to leave them hanging. We're coming back to them. So like the golf cart battery project, we're going to come back to that, show you what ended up happening with that. And I think there were a few other things that we left hanging. So we will come back to those very shortly. I've got a whole bunch of stuff filmed that we've not produced. So I apologize for the weird timing of it, but we've just been focused on other stuff. And like I mentioned before, I've got a lot of projects most of the time, so we'll deal with that. Today we are coming back to the Sequoia project, and we are going to hit the really annoying thing that we were talking about before. And what that is, let me show you. Underneath the back of the car, the spare tire is supposed to hang out here. And this winch, well, it gets really caked up, as you can see, with all sorts of gunk and debris, and they stop working. So what happens is you go to release the spare tire and it won't release. It's just stuck there, which is really inconvenient if you are stuck on the side of the road and you need your spare tire. So it's held in by 4 bolts. We're gonna unbolt those and put it in a new one and then test it to make sure it works. There's a thing that comes through the bumper. You have to open up the hatch and let's see here. The tool goes in through this hole here, sticks into that receiver, and then you are able to winch it down. So that's how it's supposed to work theoretically. Mine did not, and apparently this is an issue among Toyota Sequoias and Tacomas because you never use the spare tire, it gets gunked up, and when you need it, you can't use it. So we're gonna replace this thing. Shouldn't take too long, theoretically. If you are in the situation where you need your spare tire and it won't come down, you're going to have to just call for a tow because there's really no way to deal with it at the side of the road unless you happen to have a grinder tool. Because the only way to get that thing off and release your spare tire is to take a metal cutting wheel and cut off the end of the thing that is holding it up in place. And we'll show you that as we're diving through this. So here you see, this is the new assembly. Brand new winch, everything's all shiny. It's got a cable that comes out. This fits into the spare tire through the center hole and kind of holds it in by wedging around this section here. Actually, I can show you with the old part. This is the one that I had to cut off the car. So here is how this would normally fit in place. It just goes in there and it kind of fits through and then just, stays in place. You can do it this way with the wheel facing down. It's fine. It'll work that way without any issue. Some people do it with the spare tire flipped the other way so that you don't mar the finish, but it's a spare tire. Who freaking cares? So that's how that works. But the part that sticks through this bit is what you would have to cut if you're stuck. So with this springy area here, right, all the tension is being held against this. If you find that your winch is stuck and you cannot get it off, you can't get your spare tire off, you've actually got to take a cutting wheel and cut this end part off here, because all of the spring tension is going to be, you know, squished up there. You won't be able to get in between the tongs of the spring, but you cut the end of this off, and this all falls off, and then you have your spare tire free. So since that is a problem, that this thing gets all gunked up and doesn't work anymore, we're going to replace it. Now, because the factory manual does not specify what the size is of the bolt holding it in place, because of course, why would it? I'm just going to bring out the usual suspects to see which fits. So it could be a 10, 12, 13, or a 14. Those are the typical Toyota sizes. So we'll see what actually works to get this off and swap that out. Now I'm going to take a guess with the 12 millimeter, since that is really common, and see. Yeah, that might be the winner. Yeah, there we go, 12 millimeter. All right, 12 millimeter wins. And definitely wear eye protection while you're doing this, because in this case, nearly 200,000 miles worth of dirt and junk is going to fall on your face as you're doing this. You don't want it in your eyes. And it's off. So we got old and busted, new hotness. Now let's see if the tool lines up when I stick it through there. That's always going to be very helpful. Somewhere in your emergency kit, you should have something like this underneath your back seat with this stuff. So the tire lug wrench and these collapsible deals that go together so that you can lower your spare tire. So you clip these two together. Use both my hands here. And they insert through this hole in the middle, and theoretically, as we are inserting that, they should line up into this catch down here. And you can see that it is not lining up with the catch. So that is definitely a challenge. I'm gonna have to do some finagling to find out why it doesn't want to. Now I do have some rear end damage, and that the bumper might be misaligned, and that could be causing this to not do its thing, but I can't lower it down if it doesn't line up. So let's see if we can figure that out. Yeah, we got some rear end damage. So this looks like it is just cocked at an angle enough that it's not letting it line up. So what we can do is shim the back two bolts so that it puts it at a slight angle and makes sure that that lines up the way it needs to, and we should be functional. All right, I cut some aluminum shims to size out of threads of some leftover NPT fittings, and let's see if this is going to get us where we need to be. Is this an ideal fix? No, but will it get the job done? It's getting it lined up for where we need it to be. That'll do. All right, this is still lining up, and let's see if we've got function. So we turn it that way. All right. We have a functional winch. It's winching. So that was an ugly piece of work, far more work than I expected, of just swapping out the winch. And it's just probably not going to be par for the course for most people that have to do this repair, which is really a very common repair, that winch just gets gunked up and doesn't work anymore. Since we've got rear end damage, which shifted the angle of the bumper, we had to do a little bit more work to make it work, but it works. All right, for someone who's never had the pleasure of having to deal with lowering or raising these things, if you need to put one of these back, here's something that you want to find out before you start to put it back. The orientation of the tire makes a difference in some cars. In some of these trucks, it doesn't. You can put it either way. And the best way would be to have it so that your air valve is sticking downwards so you can check it periodically without a whole lot of trouble. Make sure you have spare tire air in your spare tire. It's a good thing. But in the case of the Sequoia, it has to be with the alloy side facing up. The nice shiny out normal side that you would see has to be up, because otherwise the mounting cup will not work very well. So putting it back in the car, you take this mounting cup and put it down through the hole and pull it up, and it nestles in there. Sorry. See, it nestles in there really pretty neatly. And then you can start hoisting it up, and it will bring it up centered inside the underside of the vehicle. Just gonna start hoisting it up. So just got to make sure that it fits back behind where it needs to fit, like here behind the toe thing. Keep hoisting it. There we go. And with all things, or most things, you do not need to go Kung Fu Voodoo Monkey Death Grip tight. It just needs to be up there, because then you'll be able to lower it. So that's the other trick. So let's start with the lowering part. We're going to do it backwards just to be sure, because it's a pain. You've got this toolkit in your emergency stuff, and there's a hole in your hatch right back there in the center, and that's where the tool goes into. Now underneath, it has to line up with that hoist mechanism that is up inside there. So that is the trick, is getting that lined up. When you have it lined up, you can lower it. So let's see if we can make that happen with a reasonable amount of effort. All right, so just inserting this into the hole. I can see where it needs to go, so just kind of, you need to make sure you angle it, and it should feel snug. It's gone in there. And as I turn it, yes, we have success. Starting to turn it, and the wheel comes down. So that is successful. Okay, we've got it, the winch working. That's how it works. Lower it all the way down until you can remove it from the cradle that it's sitting in. So that's how it's theoretically supposed to work, unless yours is jacked up, which is why we replaced this one. So the replacement part's like 50, 55 bucks. You can get it on Amazon. You can get it through carparts.com. You can get it through Parts Geek. I mean, pretty much anywhere. Rock Auto, tons of spots. It's all the same stupid part. So hope this helped you out. If you've got a Sequoia or a Tacoma, it's the same thing. Or Tundra, it's all the same stuff. The Tundra and the Tacoma have got a much longer set of tools to make this happen, but it's essentially the same exact part under there. So God bless. Hope you're doing well. Happy New Year. And let me know how I can be praying for you. See you soon.
And on that terrible disappointment, it's time to say goodbye. We'll be back.